O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder
Welcome to An American Homestead, podcasting live from deep within the Ozark Mountains at an elevation of 2,200 feet. It's 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central. You can tell it's been a week since we've done this.
I think it's been 2 weeks.
And it's great to be back. Got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about tonight, some really good topics, and we have a lot to catch up on because we've been gone. We were gone last week because of the rainstorms and flooding that came in, and were we gone the week before that?
I'm pretty sure it's been at least 2 weeks.
Huh. Well, I don't remember us being gone that long, but maybe it's just been that long and I forget. So
time flies, but I think it's been 2 weeks.
Well, we have a whole lot of stuff to catch up on tonight. We're going to be doing a giveaway tonight. I have a trivia question for you a little bit later, so I know you're going to love that. And people always are doing good. Hopefully no one from Australia will win, even though if it is, it's a small item, so it won't cost that much to ship. But it's going to be a really cool item we're giving away tonight. If some of you guys don't remember, we had a guy from Australia who won a t-shirt, the American Homestead t-shirt, and he's the only one in Australia, as far as I know, who owns an American Homestead t-shirt. So that was kind of a cool thing that happened, but it was expensive to ship, and he actually emailed us and paid for some of the shipping, so that was cool. Anyway, I have a whole big stack of stuff for you tonight. And folks, if you're interested in other shows like this, you can go to thehomesteadnetwork.com/showtimes and see all the other great channels that do this on a weekly basis. You can go to the Showtimes section of the website and see all the time slots where other channels are podcasting. And you can, tune in and learn from them. Most of those other channels actually have video with them. We are off grid, my friends, so we don't have any electricity, so you're not going to be able to see us. All we have is candle and lantern light. And so we choose to just put that image up on the screen that you're seeing and podcast like the old days when you sat by the radio as a family and sat around to listen to your favorite show.
Yeah.
And hopefully this is your favorite show.
It's because, you get to use your imagination.
Yeah, you can just listen for a while. You don't have to have your eyes physically stimulated all 24/7 of your life. You can use those ears once in a while. Anyway, we got a lot of great stuff for you this week. We had a major rainstorm come through last week, and
that's a lot of water.
After the whole week was done, about a foot. And there were some places that after last weekend, just on the weekend, they had a foot. In some surrounding areas. So there was a lot of rain that came through, and it was just not good. And so normally storms do not affect our internet, but I think because there were a lot of places that were seeing some major flooding. In fact, some lives were lost in that storm, sadly, and so many people stayed home that everyone just jumped on the internet. And when we checked our bandwidth, about an hour or two to showtime, it was down significantly, and there was no way we were going to be able to podcast. Sometimes even on good nights, we have issues, with people saying that our feed drops in and out. So it was really down, and I just said, you know what, I tried to send a message to Deep South Homestead in their chat room, and they didn't get that message, and so we were just MIA. But I posted a message on the Facebook, and I think a lot of people got that. So that was cool. Let's see. What did we do this week? We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. A whole bunch of items.
Yeah, you want me to go first?
Well, I can start off by we replanted a bunch of our tomatoes. Because of so much rain over the last 2 weeks, really, a lot of rain in the spring, a lot of the tomatoes just got hit so hard with that water, and we had a few cold nights. There was a mild frost about 3 weeks ago, towards the middle of April, and that hit my tomatoes that I had out really hard, and I figured the frost were over, and it wasn't. And so I have a number of tomato plants out in the garden. They're growing, but they just don't look really good. And so I told Jamie I decided to go ahead and just start up my tomato plants over. And so I planted another 50 seeds in starter pots just the other day.
Yeah.
So we're going to I just want to make sure, because I always try to plant around 60. 60 is a good number because you figure you're going to lose maybe a certain percentage, 10% or so, to pest or whatever. So I always try to grow around 60, and that gives us plenty for canning and even sharing with our neighbors and friends. So I got those planted. The garden's growing great. Lots of things growing in the garden. Got some other things. I planted okra on Friday.
Well, we're finally through a few days of May. So
yeah, the frost is done. We're good with frost, I think.
Our first year here, I always like to remind people, I always like to remind myself that it's spring. It's still spring. It's only spring. And the first year we moved here, it snowed on May 1st.
May 1st. Yeah.
It was a good
3 inches.
Yeah, it was a good cold snow.
Yeah, so don't fool yourselves. I know people like to get started early. I'm not kidding you. I went to the farmer's market, and I don't know if I told this story yet, but no. So I went to the farmer's market, and there were people selling tomato plants that were 1.5 feet tall, and they were telling people who were buying them, don't put these in your garden yet, it's too cold. So, I mean, who's buying these plants at the farmer's market if you can't plant them? Not everyone owns a greenhouse at home, so what do you do with them? You just sit them by the window and hope for the best. But, I mean, the ground, back then was still way too cold. And I think it's even still kind of cold now, but I think it would be okay if you planted them. But anyway, people get started really early and they don't realize what a false sense of security some warm weather early in the spring can do for people. So anyway, we got stuff replanted. The good thing about living sort of in the South is that you have plenty of a long time of growing season, plenty of length of growing season, so that you can start over if you have to and still come out okay. And because we really rely on packing our pantry with food from our garden, it's important that we do okay. So, planted a couple banana trees on Friday. We had some banana trees that were ordered in the winter time. They showed up in the winter. I thought they were going to deliver them in the spring, and they ended up delivering them in the winter time. And so we kind of babied them. We ordered 3 of them. One of them died, didn't make it, and 2 of them survived. And I finally put those in the ground on Friday. And I have seen people from Vancouver, Canada, which actually has a growing zone similar to Deep South Homestead. So if you didn't, imagine that. People in Vancouver, Canada have a growing season similar to Deep South Homestead. If you don't believe me, go look at a zone map and check it out. And so you can grow banana plants there. And they have some techniques on how to preserve them. So we got a couple of cold-tolerant California Gold that will produce bananas, and we're going to see if we can follow some of the techniques that some of the people in Canada do. And you can find lots of videos out there, and we'll do videos on it too eventually, but there's videos out there on YouTube now showing this, and see if we can grow some banana trees. Not only that, but I think they look awesome when they're mature. Mm-hmm. They're just a great landscaping, tree. So anyway, did that on Friday. You made something different this week.
Well, I've been I think I mentioned a few weeks ago that I've been on the gluten-free bandwagon. I kind of laugh when I say that because I always look at like these labels and stuff that you see as kind of fad, and I try to really stay away from fads. But lately I'd been noticing that both Joshua and I, our oldest son, were having some issues. He was having asthma. I was having some digestive issues. So I just decided, well, we'll cut out wheat and see how both of us do. And it's been really great. Like he's great. Like I'm really amazed at how good he's doing. He suffers from seasonal allergies really bad every year. And since I've had him gluten-free for about a month now, he hasn't had any allergies. And this is the really bad allergy time when pollen is all over everything.
Yeah. It's everywhere.
And he hasn't suffered at all. And I'm thinking, wow, like that just getting rid of wheat could do that for him. So I am really over the moon. I'm really excited. And my digestive issues are great and I'm doing good.
I miss bread.
Zach loves the bread, especially the sourdough bread. Most of you know. Sorry, honey. Uh-huh. Anyway, this week I made pumpkin bread. Well, let me back up and just say, okay, so gluten-free. If you're gluten-free, you know that there's tons. I call them fancy flours. I don't know what other people call them. That's just kind of my blanket term for gluten-free, expensive gluten-free flours. There's a lot of them. You know, there's the guar gum and the potato starch and the tapioca starch, and then there's the almond flour and the coconut flour, which those are all great substitutes to use in their own way, and I'm not poo-pooing them at all. I have almond flour and coconut flour in the house right now. I use it sparingly because it's expensive. But I call them fancy flours because I don't have the desire, or, I mean, it's expensive. If you're going to cook with fancy flours, it's expensive. Mm-hmm. And to feed a family gluten-free, using that, it's expensive. So I decided, after researching, and in history right now, the kids and I are learning about colonial America, and that really they didn't even eat much flour in colonial America. If they did, it came over from England. They had corn, and that's the grain they used. And so I thought, okay, I've got tons of corn, so I'm going to start baking with corn. And I've been experimenting, and I made some really, really good pumpkin bread with
pumpkin bread
with corn flour. I milled my own corn flour, and I was really surprised how good it turned out. I was really proud of myself, actually. Because nobody could tell it was made from corn. They all thought it just tasted the normal way. So instead of going the fancy flours route, I'm really experimenting with corn because we have a lot of non-GMO corn that we've stored over the years, and I can mill it myself. So that's what I'm working on in the kitchen lately.
It's the same pumpkin that we've been harvesting on our homestead. We call them Ozark Mountain potatoes.
Yeah, the great big giant squash.
They look like giant butternut squash almost. The same color as a butternut squash, kind of, isn't it? It's just, it's just bigger, kind of like bigger.
Kind of like a really pale.
You can go to our website and go to our store. You can see pictures of the squash. We sell them. I don't know how many seeds we have left. I don't think we have a lot, but the squash, we grow a number of these every year, and they make a lot of pumpkin that we can, and we use it for pumpkin bread and pumpkin pies, and sometimes we just roast it and eat it, just like, roasted.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, it's really delicious. So it's cool. We're doing that, and I like cornbread. I've always been a cornbread fan. So one thing we've got to do this last 2 weeks, really. Is it 2 weeks or a week? It's been the last week, hasn't it? Because we just got the grains from our neighbors. So we started making kefir again, milk kefir. Now, milk kefir, I have not been able to eat this or have this since we left St. Louis like 5 years ago. We used to have this all the time. She used to make it in our kitchen, and I really missed it, but we just didn't have the ability to make it because we didn't have a reliable source of milk. Now that we have, our neighbors have a milk cow. There's a couple, a little ways down the road, there's another neighbor who has a milk cow. And so we have all this milk in our area. And so I'm like, man, let's make milk kefir again. And we were looking for grains. I even went to one of the health food stores and looked for milk grains. They wouldn't sell them. They sell like the water kefir grains, but not the milk ones. And because it's going to be raw milk, and everyone knows raw milk is illegal in most places, they'll throw you in jail forever. And so we were looking around. I even made a post on Facebook, in our little barter sell trade, page for our area, and no one had it. And lo and behold, our neighbors down the road, just down the mountain,
across the road
from us had it.
I was mentioning we went down to visit them and say hello, and I was mentioning we were looking for some, and we have some. You can, and she was getting ready to. Her oldest daughter, was getting ready to strain it, so she strained it and gave them some. And
we love the milk.
Yeah, I brought it up and got it started.
Got it going.
Yeah.
So we're now back after 5 years of a drought. We have the milk kefir going again, and it is delicious. I love it. I drink it morning, afternoon, and night. I drink it all the time. It's really good for you. It's also good if you have any type of gut issues. It's really good for that. All kinds of things it'll help with. It's a really good thing for your belly and for your gut to keep your flora intact. So we're making that again, and I'm really enjoying it. So, did we do anything else this week? What else do we do?
I don't know. I started Caleb full force on his school. Some people probably don't know, but I homeschool year round, so I felt like Caleb was ready to. I'm going to be registering him. Intent to homeschool is what we do here in Arkansas. So I'll be registering him intent to homeschool in kindergarten this year, but I'm starting him off a little early, and we started rowing with him. If you don't know what that is, you are missing out if you have really young children. Zach's looking at me crazy because he doesn't know either. But we started rowing this week, and he is loving it. 5 in a row is a homeschool curriculum for very young children that you can purchase, and basically what it is just taking a children's book, any children's book, but they have their own curriculum based around children's books that they love, and teaching different topics through a children's book. And it's really cool. I love it because Caleb loves to read, and we're always sitting down reading. So we're doing little crafts and stuff, and I think it's probably one of the best preschool, kindergarten curriculums out there if you're looking for something to get started.
Very good. So our 4-year-old is now in school. Basically has been in school.
Well, I don't think that kids ever, if your kids are at home with you, they're learning from you.
They ought to be. Okay. So, I know, so some of you guys are tuning in tonight and you want to know where is the most expensive garden in the world, because that's what I'm entitling this podcast tonight, the most expensive garden in the world. The trivia question tonight is, and there really isn't a place where you can Google this, it's going to be some guesses, but I'm not going to take the guesses yet. But the guesses are, the question is, for the guesses that you're going to give me, is where is the most expensive garden in the world? And I'm not talking about some kind of, university garden or some kind of gigantic, project. No, I'm talking about like a real, regular garden where people grow food and the food is used to feed people. So, a regular garden. Where is the most expensive garden in the world? Now, before we talk about that, we have something else to discuss. I posted on Facebook about a YouTube dust-up this week, and that I was going to be talking about on the podcast. And I'm going to a little bit of a rant because this week I was very, very angry. And Jamie was too, but I was very angry this week. And you haven't seen me this angry. I was just angry. And so the YouTube dust-up that happened, was it Monday? Or was it?
No, I don't.
Was it the day you went to town? On Tuesday?
I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Okay, maybe it was Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. I'm not sure. But anyway, I woke up. We should understand, first off, we've never had a video go viral on our channel. Never. Okay, I'm talking about viral, like, 3, 4, 500,000 hit views or 1 million views, something like that. We've never had that happen to us, ever, on our channel. And it started to happen, I think, Monday night into Tuesday. I woke up Tuesday morning and I saw all the comments on a particular video. And I looked at the video, and I'm not kidding you, we were getting about 2,000 views per minute on the video. It was going viral.
Yeah, you guys, Zach really pumps these videos out, and he works really hard at it. And being his wife, I kind of have to give him some kudos. But it's been discouraging at times because we've seen a lot of other channels get viral videos, and it's discouraging for him that he hasn't had one. Just
being real with you, it's like, and I'm not jealous. I'm not trying to be jealous, of other channels. I wish everyone the greatest success. My thing is, I think a lot of time. Well, I think there's a reason why some of our videos don't go viral, but we'll get into that in a second. Anyway, that morning I get up, and I'm not kidding you, one of our videos is going viral, and I'm kind of excited about it to finally see this happening. It's got about 2,000 views a minute. It's what's coming in, and it's up to 100,000 views. Early in the morning. And all of a sudden, brakes are on. It stops. I'm like, what happened? And I go to my inbox, and there's a notice from YouTube coming in that says, "I'm sorry, but your video has been flagged for inappropriate content and may not follow community guidelines," or some kind of garbage like that. And I'm like, what? And before, I haven't told you what video this is yet, but I haven't told you what video this is. So the video that this was the video that we recorded over at Shalom Acres. It was the one where we butcher the cow, okay? And Chris shoots the cow in the head, okay? And that's the one that got flagged. I mean, it was up to 100,000 views and climbing like crazy. Excuse me, I got something in my throat. And it basically got the kibosh put on it because someone got offended of Chris killing the cow. And so, but see, you know, I know community guidelines. I know the YouTube community guidelines. I know the terms of service. I make sure I follow these things. I follow the rules when I basically when I make my videos. I make sure I follow the rules. So they give you an appeal process. So I appealed the video. And I said, wait a minute, you know, hey, I appeal this, and here's my reason. They let you type out your reason. And so I typed out my reason. I sent it in. I said, this is an educational video. It's not meant for any type of shocking value or, you know, all the things that, you know, they talk about in the terms of service and in, wow, excuse me, in the community guidelines. Excuse me. So I knew I didn't break any rules. So I sent that off to them, and then about, 2 hours later, I get a reply, because they are pretty fast when it comes to doing these videos. And the reply was, "Dear American Homestead, thank you for submitting your video appeal to YouTube. After further review, we've determined that while your video does not violate our community guidelines, it may not be appropriate for a general audience. We have therefore age restricted your video. For more information, please visit YouTube Help Center. Sincerely, the YouTube team." So it says, we've determined that while your video does not violate our community guidelines. See, folks, my videos don't break the rules. Yeah, I may skirt the edge, I think, a little bit on some things, but I'm not breaking the rules. I know I know very clearly what it talks about when it says shocking content and hatred or racist content, things like that. And it says very clearly my video did not violate the community guidelines. However, we're still saying it may not be appropriate. Excuse me, appropriate for general audiences. What is the point, my friends, of having rules if you're still penalized for following them? I was very, very angry. So anyway, people right now are really angry at YouTube. People are so upset at YouTube. And I think it's mostly because it's turned into clickbait. If you guys watch Fauchomatic Homestead, Nick Fauch, I think, put it brilliantly. Nick Fauch said that YouTube is basically denigrated into the Roman Colosseum, whereas whoever has the most crazy, shocking content is what gets the views, and it's all turned into clickbait. And I totally agree with Nick. I mean, that's exactly what it's turned into. And educational content where you actually learn something that isn't shocking or isn't meant to be clickbait, gets pushed to the sidelines. And I just think that's sad. I mean, and that's just the way it's turned into these days. And so anyway, you follow the rules, you still get penalized, and that just is what it is because people don't like guns. Folks, here's the deal. The people at YouTube do not like conservative thought. They do not like politically incorrect ideas. They don't like firearms for sure. And if you have things like that, you take a chance of getting pulled. If you don't believe me, you can look up what happened to Hickok 45 last year, one of the largest gun channels, if not the largest gun channel on YouTube. One day he woke up and his channel was gone, just gone. And there was no recourse. There was no notice given, no appeal. His channel was just gone. And people in the community, the Second Amendment community, homesteading community, people, they just panicked because, that could happen to anyone. Now, it came back. They finally restored his channel. But I think what YouTube was doing at that point, my friends, was they were testing the waters. They were going to get rid of one of the biggest gun channels on YouTube to see what your reaction would be. And the reaction was huge. People just threw a fit. And so they put it back. And I think, if tomorrow they could flip a switch and get rid of every conservative viewpoint, every, self-sufficiency viewpoint, because these things are not normal. These things are politically incorrect. Folks, we've done that video, Homestead Outlaws. People will throw you in jail for owning chickens today. It's crazy, the things that they're doing. You know, you buy your food at the store like every other normal human being. Otherwise, you're an idiot. That's what they tell you.
The thing is, we've been making, we've all as conservatives made this point that, you know, we're all supposed to be tolerant, right? Except that they're not very tolerant of us. It's funny because I'm really strict about what my children watch. Anything that's searched on YouTube, I'm searching for it. I'm looking over their shoulder. I watch very, very carefully what they see on YouTube. I don't expect YouTube to do that for me. As a mother, it's my responsibility to make sure I know what they're watching and to have my own filter for what they are watching. But evidently, some people think that that's YouTube's job. And so YouTube has to be careful about what these young minds are seeing. Except, I was angry too, because to me, yes, they took our ad revenue away from that video, but it also goes to the principle of the thing.
That was a good video.
That we as a culture think it's okay, and we're expecting our liberties to be filtered, while at the same time, I don't even want to go into what's okay for kids to watch on YouTube that isn't age restricted. It's disheartening.
That was a good video, folks. It had a lot of educational content in it, and it just showed you how quickly you can take apart an animal, a large animal, and put it in the freezer. And so it was a lot of good information in that video. And because it's now age restricted, it won't work on most mobile devices and things like that. And you have to age verify your account before you can view age restricted videos. It's just sad. And anyway, I don't know. There's nothing really you can do about it. YouTube really is the only show in town when you want to make these kind of videos. There are other websites out there. I opened up an account on vid.me this week and started uploading videos just to see what it's like. But you know what? I've heard from other people on YouTube that vid.me is the same way. If you're politically incorrect, if you have a conservative viewpoint, they will yank your stuff down just as fast as YouTube will. Or they can. So it's just about the monetization. You know, there's a lot of people, because they're adjusting their algorithms. And my just, I don't want to spend too much more time on this, but the people who responded back, they reviewed my video. Someone human reviewed my video. It wasn't an algorithm that said, oh no, we're going to make this age appropriate. It was somebody who said, oh no, we can't have gun violence on YouTube.
And they didn't like it, so they complained.
Yeah.
My whole thing, and it really kind of bugs me, is that if you don't like it, move on. Why do you have to tell the whole world about it?
People, it's like there was even a vegetarian on that video. The top comment on that video was a vegetarian who was so happy that an animal was humanely killed instead of, have you ever seen what they do to these factories? Go just search for cow slaughtering to see what they do at these factories for these cows. They basically run them into a machine. They turn the cow upside down. The throat is cut, and then they drop the cow on the floor to squirm and scream until it's hauled away. It's horrific what they do to these animals in these factories. And someone who, for this cow that Chris killed, it was lights on, lights out instantly. The cow had no idea what hit it, and it was instantly gone. It was that quick. And that was the most humane way anyone could ever dispatch an animal for harvest. Anyway, again, I just had to rant because I was very upset this week. And it doesn't make me want to throw in the towel. I'm not going to leave YouTube. But here's the deal, folks. If they want to get rid of you tomorrow, they can. It's just a push of a button. It's their website. They can run their website any way they want to. I'm just saying, don't be saying censorship and freedom of speech, because it doesn't matter to these people. They've lost touch with reality on what is real in life, and so it is what it is, and you just gotta go with the punches, roll with the punches, and keep on keeping on.
What bugs me too, though, is that it's the internet age where it's so easy to complain. Like, it's so easy to send your complaint out there into the world.
If you don't like something, boy, you let everybody know it, and it's just. If you don't like something nice to say, don't say anything type thing.
Okay.
All right. So, trivia question. Now, I'm going to the chat room right now. I'm going to the chat room, and you tell me, let's see, who has the most expensive garden in the world? Who owns the most expensive garden in the world? And the first right answer I see gets a prize, gets the giveaway. And I'll tell you what the giveaway here is in a minute. The most expensive, who has the most expensive garden in the world?
What is the definition of why is it expensive? Like the plants that they plant?
Scott Hutzler won it. Scott Hutzler.
The White House.
Scott Hutzler. It's the White House. That's absolutely correct.
Why is it the most expensive?
We're going to talk about that tonight because I think it's really interesting. All right, so Scott Hutzler gets it. It's the White House, the most expensive garden in the world. And Scott, your prize is a folding credit card knife. It's a credit card that fits in your wallet. It looks like it's the shape of a credit card. It fits in your wallet, and it transforms, like a transformer into a knife. So it's a knife. I've got your address already, and I will send it to you. Tim is in charge of that. I gave him that, so he'll send it out to you. I got your address though. So. All right, so the most expensive garden in the world is at the White House. Folks, you are not going to believe this. So if you're paying attention to the news, if you're a news junkie like I am, you know that the budget was passed recently this past week, and it was a big uproar in the news and everything. And one of the things that came up that caught my ear, because I'm a homesteader, I have a garden, was people were wondering if Michelle Obama's White House garden was going to make the budget cuts or not, or if it was going to be eliminated. Were they going to eliminate Michelle Obama's garden? And I started, what? Eliminate the garden? Anyway, so there were a number of commentators talking about this week, and I did a little bit of digging. And so I wanted to find out more about this garden, who pays for it all. Is it really in the budget? And so here's the background on this. You're not going to believe this. So the White House garden, vegetable garden, started out in 2009 at 1,100 square feet. That's not very big. That's just a little bit bigger than our house. Yeah,
small.
Real small garden. 1,100 square feet in 2009. It contained 55 varieties of fruits and vegetables. And then it was upgraded to 1,700 square feet.
55 varieties?
Yeah, I don't know how they fit that many fruits and vegetables inside. I mean, they must have one plant of each. I mean, you got to give stuff space to grow.
That's a lot.
That is a lot for 1,100 square feet. So then it was enlarged to 1,700 square feet. And now, today, it sits at 2,800 square feet. And back in 2009, they publicized very widely that it only costs, supposedly, I don't believe this for a second, it only costs $200 worth of supplies to start the garden. $200 worth of supplies to start that garden. Now, that was back then. I mean, I don't believe that at all, that it took that. Now, not to mention that the garden is maintained by the National Park Service. So there's National Park Service employees, park rangers. I mean, I don't know, guys in Smokey the Bear hats. I'm not sure, but National Park Service employees maintain that garden. They're in charge of the garden. Okay. So tax dollars are at work somewhere. Someone's paying those guys salaries, and I know that's more than $200. So the most expensive garden in the world. Now, today, this is maintained by a private endowment from Burpee Seeds. Most of you guys, if you have a garden, you know who Burpee is. If you've been around Walmart and some of these other places, you've seen the Burpee seed stands. Burpee is a seed company. Burpee donated $2.5 million to maintain this garden. So it's a garden of 2,800 square feet. I still don't think that that's very big. It's not very big. And it basically takes an endowment, and they don't tell you if that's per year or what, but it's $2.5 million from Burpee Seed Company that maintains that garden. Now, some of you, I just saw the chat room, Nick Anderson, he got it right. So Burpee sells some seeds from Monsanto. It's not a Monsanto company. Monsanto does not own Burpee, okay? But they do sell some of the seeds that come from Monsanto. Now, Burpee says that they don't sell any GMO seeds in their catalogs. None of their seeds are GMO, but they do buy some of their seeds that they sell to the public from Monsanto. So are we really to believe them or not? I don't know. I stay away from Burpee. But I just thought that was interesting. $2.5 million from Burpee. Now, my question is, this week I sent a letter to the National Park Foundation, which is part of the National Park Service. And I said, hey, listen, my name is Zachary Bauer, and I have an American Homestead LLC. You know, is there any tax incentives for supporting the National Park Foundation? Because I wanted to know. Maybe the reason Burpee is doing this is because they're getting a giant tax break, you know, for maintaining the White House garden. They never got back with me. I never got a reply from the National Park Service, the National Park Foundation. But I looked up, and the National Park Service budget is $2.9 billion. The Department of the Interior, which oversees the National Park Service, their budget is $20.7 billion. Now, the reason this is news right now is because Trump is out there saying, we're going to cut the budget, and a lot of us know that he didn't really cut the budget this time because this budget was kind of put together starting under Obama. And so he hasn't really had his budget cuts yet that he has wanted. But a lot of people were speculating, will Michelle Obama, will the garden stay that she started in the White House? And so far, they say it's going to stay. But my question is, obviously, someone's paying those national park rangers who are maintaining that garden, National Park Service employees who are keeping that garden. So there you go. It's a National Park Service. It has a budget of $2.9 billion. Donald Trump wants to cut that. Department of the Interior budget is $20.7 billion. Donald Trump wants to cut that. So does it basically save the White House garden even though there's a $2.5 million endowment from Burpee that keeps it going? That's a really expensive garden, folks. $2.5 million to maintain the garden and National Park Service employees that are working it. That's an expensive garden. How would you like $2.5 million to maintain your garden and National Park Service employees to go out there and work it every day? I'm just saying. I mean, life is good, right? Anyway, so yeah.
Not if you have to plant GMO seeds.
I know. I'm not eating anything out of that garden. But they say they donate a lot of it to local food pantries, right? And or it's used for state dinners and things like that the president has. Uh-huh. But Trump, I'm assuming, would rather just throw in a putting green. And, you know, I mean, he's a fast food guy. He loves fast food. He doesn't care about gardens. You know, he'll probably just throw in a putting green.
Yeah, but at 2,800 square feet, it's not like they're eating.
It's not a lot of space.
It's not like it's going to feed the whole White House.
It's not a lot of space. Guys, my greenhouse alone is 800 square feet. I'm going to go out and measure it this week and see how big my garden is, but I guarantee you it's probably bigger than that. 2,800 square feet? I don't think so. So, you know, if you're listening to the podcast, make sure you put a note on there to remember to go out and measure the garden. I want to know how many square feet that is, because I bet it's bigger than the White House garden.
It's got to be. Man,
I want a budget of $2.5 million to maintain my garden.
No, you don't.
I mean, think of what I could grow with that. Okay, so, all right, we got to get to the chat room, but I got one more thing I want to talk about first. I had another article. I may save it for next week since it's really good, and we may go ahead and cut to the chat room early. But Baker Creek Planting Festival, I just saw Deep South Homestead. They had their big Appalachia. I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm from Missouri. I'm not from the Appalachians, but they just had their big conference and Homestead Conference. So it looked like everyone had a great time, and so many familiar faces were there. So, and everyone, I think, is heading home tonight. But Baker Creek tomorrow starts their spring planting festival. And Off Grid with Doug and Stacy is going to be there. And I had a message back and forth with Doug. I'm going to try to be there on Monday. I'll be running around with the camera in my hand at the Baker Creek Spring Planting Festival, and I'm going to try, if I can, to corner Doug to get him on camera and say hi to him. And I don't know if Stacy will be there too. I'm assuming she will be. But me and Jamie will be there with the boys, and there'll be a booth there. One of our neighbors opened up a booth there this year, and they'll be selling some American Homestead seeds and things like that. And so we'll be there on Monday at the Baker Creek Spring Planting Festival. We're really happy with the seeds Baker Creek has provided. Most of our seeds have come from them. There's a couple other sources where we get our seeds, but Baker Creek is a great source to get good seeds that you can plant year after year. And sometimes I have to reorder some things from there, but it's always a great company to get from. So Baker Creek Spring Planting Festival starts tomorrow. I will be there on Monday. Hope to see you there as well. Doug from Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, I believe, is going to speak both days. I don't have the time, when he's going to speak, but he will be there both days. So if you're anywhere in the vicinity of that, make sure you head on over to the Baker Creek Spring Planting Festival. There's going to be a lot of people. They expect around 10,000 people to be there. So it's going to be a great time. Just look for me running around with my camera in my hand. I think that's about it. That's all I want to get into tonight. There's a lot of other stuff we could talk about, but let's head over to the chat room, see what's going on. Hey, folks, if you have a question, please put it in all caps so we can see the question and try to address it. If we don't address your question the first time out, please repost it, and we will eventually get to it. Let me pop out the chat over here, and I see Patrick G. Will there be a season 4 of your videos? Thank you. No, there will not be. We're not going to do a season 4 because here's the deal, folks. It takes a lot of time to put those together, and I'm under the gun every single time, and it feels like I can't do any topical videos. So for the last 3 years, all of the great topical issues have gone into the season episodes, and I want to make some separate episodes on some of the things we do because I can go into more detail, whereas in a seasonal episode, I'm under the constraints of time to keep it around 30 minutes or 20 minutes or so, or even 15 minutes or so, because I like to make things in small consumable bites. And for instance, like tomato harvest, that's always been in the season episodes. We've never done a video on tomato harvest separate because it's always during the time when I have to include everything I do for the seasonal episodes. So, I think we're going to do something different this year. This year, I'm going to do seasonal episodes on topics that I think people want to see. Or not season episodes, but topical videos on topics people I think want to see. But then also, we're going to expand the Homesteading 101 section. I have more videos and scripts on the Homesteading 101, questions from people who are interested in homesteading, want to start learning about homesteading, and where do they begin? So beginning questions on homesteading 101. I want to expand that series. Just so you know, seasons 1 through 3 are going to be put on thumb drive. We have custom thumb drives that arrived last week, and they'll be up on the website this week, and for sale. And it includes 39 total videos. I think it's, hold on a second, 761 minutes of footage. So it's on a 16 gigabyte hard drive. 761 minutes of footage, and it got 39 videos, and it includes a 30-minute special tour of the homestead, a complete tour of the homestead. It's a special tour, and it's only going to be available on that thumb drive. So the only way you're going to see that full 30-minute tour, top to bottom, literally top to bottom tour of the homestead, is on that thumb drive if you order it. The patrons get one for free, or get 2 for free. The patrons, the top level patrons, but everyone else have to order the thumb drive. That'll be out this week. He says, you could do a 2-hour video and I'd still watch it. Yeah, I know, Green Acre Homestead. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me, but Most people will not. Most people don't have the time span for that. They want stuff in quick consumable bites, and people today just have the attention span of a gnat.
I think the thing is that people are used to. I'm just going to be honest. When I click on a YouTube video and they don't get right to the point, I click right off because I have limited time in researching the topic that I'm learning about.
Right.
I'm not just watching entertainment, YouTube for entertainment value. I'm researching something which
education
usually involves homeschooling for me when I'm getting on YouTube. But if they don't get to the point, I'm clicking off.
I'm going to do a video at some point on why, because we have been approached a number of times to do TV stuff, TV shows. We even had a signed contract with Discovery Channel for a show that was going to come out last year. And it's out now. It's going to be going on its second season. And it ended up being canceled for us being participating in that in that show because they wanted me to shave my beard, and I said no, I'm not shaving my beard. And they wanted me to do all these other things. I'm not doing those things. And so it was just a mess. The issue is that there's just a lot of stuff out there that is not real. It's entertainment. I tell people when they come to me about a TV show or they come to me about, participating in some kind of thing on television, I say, listen, people don't want your fake drama. They want education. They want to learn something. If you can teach them something and entertain them at the same time, but teach them something, they'll come back for more and more and more. But you watch these stupid shows in Discovery and other places like History Channel, and it's all a bunch of fake drama. That's all it is, fake drama. And, I don't have time for that. So, I'll maintain it. Jacob Marl says, I'll maintain it for $1 million. Hey, I'm trying to save our country money. Country money. Yeah, I don't see, Jacob, the only thing with Burpee is that they're getting a huge tax break for that. So I don't think you're going to get a huge tax break if you donate $1 million. Unless you have a company that wants, hey, if you have a company that has $1 million to give me, so I'm not a 501c3, so it ain't going to do you a lot of good. I'm a for-profit corporation. Have you seen Genesis History, and what do you think of it if you have? I have not seen that. Is that a documentary, Genesis History? I have not seen it. Is Genesis History? I'll have to look at it. Let's see. What else? Any other questions? I'm going to scroll back up here and see what I got. What's the difference between an episode and a topical video? A topical video spends the whole video on a certain topic. It's about tomatoes or sweet potatoes, or it's about livestock or chickens, or it's about, drilling a well or solar panels, or, there's so many things that we could be talking about during the summer when the weather's good, and it's just, gives good conditions for making topical videos that I know people enjoyed the seasonal episodes, but I think I want to do some topical videos, and I want to expand the Homesteading 101 series, because there's a lot of people, friends, there's a lot of people who have just beginning questions. They want to know what it takes to get started. And, we've been down that road. We have some experience in that. And so we'll share what we have to share, and you can take it or leave it, chalk it up to, some education at that point. But I just think there's a real need for that. So that's what we're going to do. When do you plant your sugar cane? I saw, hey, Shalom Acres is on here. Shalom Acres, I need to get over to your place. I can't do it this week, but next week to pick up some sheep if you still got them. When do I plant my sugar cane? So it's warm enough now that I'll try to find the next rainstorm like around the 15th of the month. So around the 15th of this month, I'll start looking at the weather and wait for the next big rainstorm to come through, and I'll throw my seed out a day before that. So I'll plow it up again. I till it with the cultivator. I don't really till it. I just turn it over with the cultivator, and then, just kind of roughs up the ground a little bit to give the seed something to implant to. And then I just go out there and I'll broadcast my seed. And but I need to talk with Chris over at Shalom Acres, and we were talking about you earlier, Chris. It was a whole big rant on YouTube, but anyway, you'll hear about it later. But I need to get over to your place and get some sheep. Let's see.
Solar dehydrator. What's going on with the solar dehydrator?
What's going on with the solar dehydrator? You guys were having trouble with it? I mean, it works. It just didn't work with. We tried to branch out last year with green beans, and it didn't work. What happened to it?
Well, okay. The solar kind of relies on the sun. I had watched the weather okay, but I stuck a lot of green beans in, and I probably put too many in. I really loaded up my trays because the garden was full and they were coming in, and we didn't get enough sun. But then the more I kind of thought about it and the more my dad thought about it, it just isn't getting hot enough inside, and we're not really sure why. Whether the air needs to be circulated better. I don't know. I don't really know if we're going to mess with it again this summer.
No, we will. We'll use it for like basil or whatever if we need it, or other things.
Yeah. I'm just really not into doing the veggies so much. And we don't have a lot of fruit coming in the garden, except for our blackberries, which I always can those.
I'm the one who does it all basically for that, but we've used it very successfully for herbs.
But what I'm saying is that when I think of dehydrating, it's how it works best would be fruits or herbs. Don't you think? I mean, tomatoes too, but to be honest, I don't really like sun-dried tomatoes. I don't like how they get stuck in my teeth.
I love sun-dried tomatoes. I think they're just delicious.
I don't.
But Dustin says the greenhouse, the section north of the greenhouse is 40 by 40 on the Google Maps satellite view. Dustin knows where we live. He's a neighbor. So what's 40 by 40?
Well, 4 times 4 would be 16, so 1,600.
So when you take into account the rest of the garden, that's got to be more than 2,800 square foot.
Well, 1,600 plus 800 would be 2,400 plus.
All I know is I want $1 million to run my garden. That's what I want. I'm gonna write the government and see how long it takes them to send me my $1 million. Anyway, that doesn't include the greenhouse or arbor area. Yeah, well, the greenhouse is 40 by 20, so that's 800 square feet. So anyway, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm gonna go out and measure it this week and find out, exactly how big it is. Someone commented on our YouTube channel recently. He said, "Not sure if you're a Star Trek fan, but that guy totally reminds me of Boothby. Not sure that's spelled right, but he was the groundskeeper at Starfleet Academy in San Francisco." Now, if you guys saw the last video, the master gardener who wore the Batman hat.
Yeah.
Boothby, I don't remember an episode where they're at the Starfleet Academy in San Francisco and a groundskeeper.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Next Generation Star Trek?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing that.
See, I'm the Star Trek fan. He's more the Star Wars fan.
Well, it used to be. I don't care about this.
Used to be. Neither of us watch sci-fi anymore.
Not really. So, but I don't remember Boothby. I don't remember that. So people are asking about the shiitakes. No shiitakes yet, but get this, folks. We had our first harvest of some really, really good wine cap mushrooms from the garden. So there's not a lot of shade in the garden, and the mycelium, I buried it deep, and I put about 3 to 4 inches of sawdust, wood chips, on top of that mycelium, and it's just coming to the surface like you would not believe. That mycelium is growing all over the garden. It's really amazing to watch, and so some of those are fruiting already, and they're pushing through from the bottom up through the sawdust. And Jamie had the task of cleaning all the sawdust off of the first mushrooms that we harvested, which was kind of a chore. But during the summer, when you have the plants growing like they should be, you will have these mushrooms, these wine cap mushrooms popping up at the top, and I mean, they are just delicious. So, folks, I highly recommend, if you can look up, I think it's Field and Forest, where they sell these things. order a bag. I know they're kind of expensive, but as long as you keep adding wood chips on it year after year, they will come back year after year. It's a one-time planting thing. Just keep adding the wood chips so the mycelium can grow. They are delicious, absolutely delicious. But no shiitakes yet. I will let you know when we get the shiitakes. I went out there today, actually, and was just looking to see if anything was popping. Just looking around. But nothing popping yet. So I've been watching them. We need a little more heat and maybe a little more rain.
We need more rain?
Probably. Well, when the heat is. It's been too cold.
Yeah.
It's been like down in the 30s, It's like, man. But now, most of the weather looking forward looks like, 50 degrees or so. So, I think it's going to be good. Let's see. Does it matter what order the layers of a lasagna garden are in? Not really. As long as your top layer is something that doesn't have seed in it. So you can put hay or grass clippings, as one of your layers. But if you do that, you need to have something thick above it to keep that hay or that grass seed from sprouting and growing up through your layers. It's even better if you want to, layer down some cardboard, excuse me, cardboard or newspapers on top of that. Same with horse manure. Horse manure is great manure, and I have put it on green, fresh, on my garden before. It doesn't hurt the plants. I don't know what everyone, who cares what everyone else tells you. It works fine. But horse manure contains a lot of grass seed, and it will sprout heavily on your garden. So you got to put something on top of it. But I always put in, lots of different layers, and something thick on top like wood chips works great, or even straw. Straw works great. We went to that master gardener's house. He had pine needles on his, and pine needles work great. I think Chris over at Shalom Acres, he does pine needles. I wish I had a source for pine needles because they work great. They keep slugs off of your plants. Slugs don't like crawling over pine needles, is what I hear. Lasagna layering is the way to go. I love lasagna gardening. I'm also going to try this. I'm sold. This master gardener, if you watch that video, I'm sold on the idea of the what's the volcanic rock?
I don't remember what it was called.
Oh, what's it called? Anyway, it's magnetic. No.
I don't remember.
It's the volcanic rock, that dark rock stuff. I've been using rock dust for years already, the avzamite. But I'm sold on that whole, you go watch the video. Whatever that black stuff, he knows. But I'm sold on it because he sold me on it based on his results for his corn and for other things that he's done. Amazing. Any updates on the Alice Chalmers crawler? What's that?
Paramagnetic.
That's right. Paramagnetic rock. That's right. Paramagnetic rock. I'm sold on it. I think it really works. I'm going to get me some of that stuff. I know it's kind of expensive, but it'll last for decades. It's basically, lava rock. Folks, do you want to know why places like Hawaii and some of these other islands have such great fertile soil? It's because they're built with this stuff. It's all over in the dirt. That's why you can grow all these amazing things in Hawaii. It's because it's all paramagnetic rock. It's amazing stuff. It's just, ground up volcanic rock. Let's see. So the dozer crawler. It's a track loader. It's coming. So I have to get a couple more things to get this going. I've got most of my parts I need for it, and I'm waiting on a bearing for the idler wheel. And so once I get the bearing for the idler wheel, we will be off to the races. I cannot wait. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. I've never gotten inside of a vehicle like this before, and so we'll all experience the fun together. So we'll do lots of videos on it. So, hey guys, thanks for tuning in again this week. I really appreciate it. We had a lot of catching up to do. I don't think we got through most of the stuff I wanted to get through, but there's always next week. So tune in again next week. We'll see you back. And until then, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Like us on Facebook, like us on Twitter. We'll see you next time on An American Homestead. Oh, by the way, Popolo, it's for sale right now on the website. Go check it out. All right, see you next time on the Homestead.